Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Trading with Livevol, and this is my name is Stephen Choi, and this is where I trade my real Reg T account, and I use LVX to trade, and you guys can see how I use the software to trade. So let's actually go right to the tape. So basically, I'm having a pretty bad day today. I had a pretty good day yesterday, but basically. These are my results for the day. So there's most of my stocks I'll talk about. The other ones are the ones I've been talking about. TraderMinute. I think those guys are doing great, but today they're giving some of that back. But they had a pretty good day on Friday, so I have their position. But let me talk about the stuff that I have. So sharing looks like I'm up even though the stock is down a little bit. So basically what I have in sharing, as you guys know, is the 230, 250 call spread. And my belief is that AbbVie is going to make another bid at Shire hopefully sometime this week. So I don't have too much time left. The weird thing is I bought these call spread for like around $5 when Shire was trading, I guess like right around like below 230. And then basically now it looks like it's trading above 330, right? So I think right around, probably around here was when I started putting it on. I did think about maybe trying to reduce my risk by, so I put like, you know, like $14,000 down, but this spread is now worth roughly 22,000. So I'm trying to do rolls where I'm trying to kind of roll to the 35 strike and sell it for like $4. So far, not too successful. So you can see all my trades right here that I'm working. If you look at it, it's the 30-35 call spread I'm trying to sell for $4. I'm trying to sell the 30-40 call spread for $6.90, and then I have stuff like this when I'm trying to do the butterfly, the 30, 40, 50 butterfly for $4 credit. It's kind of same thing as the other one, except I would probably be rolling it up to the next strike. So I have all that stuff working. So far, it hasn't worked out too well in terms of like getting filled. In terms of the spreads, it worked out beautifully. But you know, since this is an event stock. Basically, I can lose it in a blink of an eye. So it's not like just because I'm up, unless I'm just willing to sell it, right? So if I wanted to sell it, that I bought for $5 for like $8.50 and make $3.50, which isn't bad, right? So $3.50 times around 25 times, you know, it's probably like. What, like 11,000-12,000 that I've made so far on Shire. I could probably close it down, but I'm just gonna keep it, right? And so in the next couple of days, hopefully something will happen in terms of like getting a higher bid. So I was a little worried. Like you see the sell-off today, when it was selling off, I was getting kind of concerned, but that's how it happens, and then like it takes a nosedive, and then some news announcement comes. But it looks like it was just a normal sell-off with the market, and now people who are interested in Shire are buying it back. I also look at, for those of you guys who are interested, you can go to ft.com and just type in Shire. And you see this is the London exchange, and it looks like it finished much higher than the deal price today. So I kind of look at this more because I think it's kind of illiquid, the Shire ADR here. It's really hard to get filled. I don't know if you guys try to get any contracts filled, but it's pretty brutal. So so most of the trading probably, if you're a real player, is probably happening not here in stateside, but in London. So that's probably what's happening over there. The other one is IGT. I was kind of concerned about this as well. I'll show you again. You see like this precipitous drop, and then now it's kind of trying to come back a little, but I'm not having a good day in this stock for sure. So if you can add all this up, basically looks like I'm down over $2,000 because I'm short these calls. Now, one thing I did put in, even though the stock's down and I'm losing, is I put in more of these call spread. So remember, if you guys remember, I was trying to buy this spread, and I had been buying this spread, so I'm gonna try to buy some more for under $1, and I have a chance of like quadrupling whatever I put in. So you know, sometimes you have to kind of try to buy when it's at a pain point, and I'm willing to do that because nothing really changed. And I think one of the things I look at on these things is like the volume, right? So the volume is pretty low, even though it's about midday. And if you look at the average trades, it's about 10,000, and today it's only 3,400. So factors like that. I'll do SHPG as well. You know, basically on these, I kind of look at the same thing, look at the volume, average volume, and if it isn't that high, then you know, maybe you don't have to worry about it as much. But if the volume starts increasing, that's when you have to kind of keep a close eye. So that's kind of for Shire and IGT. I did get into L'Oreal. I don't know when, but a few months ago, I was super bullish on L'Oreal, saying that, and I'll have to dig it up, what video thing, but if you go to YouTube, you can get it. Just type in LO, I guess. And I was talking about how there's most likely going to be a merger. And on Friday, basically, I guess CNBC, David Faber announced that maybe their merger with Reynolds is about several weeks away. So the Reynolds is this symbol right here, RAI, and what they do is they pretty much have massive overlapping corporate structure, right? So they have the same salespeople, they're located in generally the same area, and it's not like tobacco smoking is growing, right? So basically by consolidating, it could really help both companies. But it's not simple. It's not as simple and straightforward. There's like a third party. There's all kinds of other stuff that you can read about. Too long for me to get into. But basically, they'll probably have to sell some assets, and you know, Reynolds has like another partner that owns shares, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. You have to read it. It's not as straightforward, which is why it might have taken so long, and hopefully it'll be okay. So what's funny was I bought these originally. I did the August 65, July 65 call spread, right? Then I bought the July's back on Friday. So now when I came in this morning, and let me actually do historical trades. When I came in this morning, I was just long these 40 calls for around 270 was my average. And then some, you know, this morning I see this trade go up on statistic where this guy bought the August 65 70 call spread 1,000 times, and then he sold the July 65 70 spread for 80 cents. So essentially saying that the deal isn't going to get done until August expiration hits. So I liked it. See, originally I sold this, and what I didn't like is you have your front spread, right? So let me actually go to the risk chart. So this is my position now, right? But before, let me actually do this. This was my position, and that's what I didn't like about my time spread is if I was wrong, basically, and they bid, let's say $73 or something, or 75, I would have lost money, even though I had the correct idea, right? So I basically came in with this position this morning. This was my position, right? And the good thing is that I have all this upside, but the bad thing is I have this issue with the K, and I'm putting up a lot of cash, right? So by seeing this guy do this spread for 80 cents, essentially, if I paid 270, I'm basically bringing this down to 190. Let's say it expires worthless. That's if it happens. And I also have, then I'll have these calls for 190 essentially, right? Which is pretty good. If you look at it, there have been a lot of spreads right here, the August 65.70 and then the July 65.70, you know, buying and selling. You guys can kind of dive into it in LVX. But the block trade, that guy bought the bought the August 65.70 call spread and sold the July 65.70 call spread. And I think that's good. I like it, but I wanted to make sure that even if that happened, I still got the upside, right? So I think most likely the takeout price from when I read everything might be between 68 to maybe up to 80 bucks, right? So it's a pretty wide range. It's not that narrow, but you know what I'm hoping for is that it expires worthless, and then they make a bid for, let's say, you know, like let's say like 73 bucks, right? So I'm hoping like those expire worthless, and then once July expires, then they make a bid for like higher than 72, 73, and I can make between 24 and 25,000. And but if for whatever reason they announce it early, I still make, right? So I wanted to err on the side that it'll get done, and so I put these spreads on. So I have this spread, but then I have these calls that basically are naked. I was thinking of maybe even buying some of these, right? So you see how it's a nickel bid, but originally it was only 2 bid, and I put in a 3 bid. I probably won't get filled on that, right? So that's my new position in Lorillard. So essentially what has happened in all my positions, I went from kind of trading like credit spreads and trying to get some premium to basically there seems to be so many takeovers and event stocks that I'm concentrating on the event stocks. So I have 3 of those now. Lorillard, which I think they'll consummate a deal with Reynolds. And I have Shire Pharmaceutical, who I think is going to get a higher bid from AbbVie. And then I have IGT, who I think is going to consummate and sell their company at some time in the next month or so, right? So I have 3 of those working. Hopefully, you know, I get more of those right than wrong, and eventually my my account keeps growing. All the other stuff I have, and this is my idea on the other stuff, is, you know, I just buying calls naked and doing technical analysis was not my strength. So, you know, why not leave it up to some professionals like the TraderMinute guys? Now, I'm not saying that I would follow everything they do or just follow anyone. It's just that the guy, the head trader, Jeff, has very similar beliefs than I do in terms of like the overall market and how he picks stocks. So, you know, that's where I was drawn to him, because, you know, I have a lot of stuff in common with him, but he was way better at picking the individual stocks than I was, right? So even if we had the same viewpoint, if we went in with the exact same viewpoint and had to pick stocks, he probably would do much better than I would, which is why I'm kind of deferring to him for now. And since he's had such a great success this time around, you know, I'm gonna kind of follow him. And if I followed him, let's say I just blindly followed him from the beginning of this challenge, you know, I would be probably up like 40 grand. But since I didn't, because of the previous challenges, you know, basically I didn't get, it's almost like I had to see it for myself before I started dipping my toe into it more aggressively, right? So now I'm actually following him pretty closely, even though I missed pretty much half of his trades, just because like I'm not there when it happens. So I'm always getting in like a little bit late, or getting out later, which, you know, recently have been a negative, but, you know, overall I'm sure it kind of evens out. But in the end, that's kind of my strategy right now. The event stocks that I'm doing, and then I'm following the TraderMinute guys. You know, if you want to go to see the TraderMinute guys, just make sure you guys type in live 569. You know, go to TraderMinute. It's TraderMinute.com. Type in live 569, and basically you can get a month free. And then you guys can decide for yourself. I wouldn't bet what they're putting on now, because they have like 40,000 in their account. But on July 15th, I think a new challenge starts. The way he starts with 3,000. So if you have 3,000 bucks and you only, you know, you have minimum risk, but you want to get maximum gain, it's probably a good strategy to try to see what they can do. So, you know, for now, you know, this is my account, not doing that well, but in the end, it's gonna, most of this is gonna kind of be determined by how I do in Shire, Laureate, and in IGT in terms of my account, and see how that goes, right? So I see Laureate looks like they're back in the positive, so, you know, you get a little antsy just because if the stock starts moving against what you think, and I'm kind of hoping like this thing goes back up to the $16 range before the close, so at least like 15.90. Let's see what's happening to the overall market. One of the good things about trading these event stocks is you're not kind of held to the market, right? You can actually succeed buying calls even if the market kind of goes down. So let's see what happened. Okay. So I have all these triggers in just to let me know how everything is doing. That was Delta Airlines. I don't have any position in Delta, but I just want to keep close track, and you know, maybe there might be some opportunity here if it sells off more. But just keeping an eye on it. Hopefully, you know, I'll do a little better going into the close, but anything could happen. As for my trading, you know, this is how my 1 year chart looks. Basically, I've had a lot of ups and downs. I've come back recently. I was on a really low point here, and I'm hoping to kind of use this bounce to kind of get another bounce here, right? That goes beyond this. So, you know, if I can get this up to like 200, then I feel like maybe then I have like some cash to really start escalating the bets and start making some real returns. But right now, like, I'm kind of meandering right here because I can easily lose another 40, 50,000 from here and go back down to here. So even though I'm at like, you know, 124, it looks like I made like a, you know, like a $35,000 comeback here. If I close everything out, yes, then it's a comeback. But since everything is open, nothing is settled, and basically it's still up in the air. And it, you know, just for you guys who are trading, that's how it is with trading in general. It's like if you don't risk anything, you can't make anything, right? And I know you know, if you want to make the returns that you want, you have to have some kind of risk that you are willing to bear and take. And for me, I guess, yeah, I can look at this and say, oh my God, that's $6,000. Well, I could have done a lot of things with this 6,000, or just kind of look at it as units and overall portfolio, right? So I need to get this up to like 200. That's what I'm trying to do. And if I do get it to 200, then I have to set new goals and try to get something more, right? So right now, I'm still like at a very precarious position because I have these bets. Now, one thing you guys have to understand is I would not keep this position if I thought it was like 50-50, right? I'm keeping this position even though I'm down today because I think I'm going to make money on all my positions, right? So if it's 50-50, I would close it. But you know, I feel strongly that Shire is going to get another bid this week. I think IGT is going to get a bid and consummate a deal. The price is still a little bit up in the air, and I think LO is going to get acquired by Reynolds. So as long as I have those beliefs, I'm just going to keep placing bets. Now, if I think my percentages are not that good and it's 50-50, then I have to close no matter where I am on the P&L, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. So I hope your trading is going well today, hopefully better than me, and I will talk to you guys on Wednesday. I appreciate everyone tuning in and listening to me. It's pretty exciting. All these deal stocks are kind of, it's a lot of risk, but also it's a great opportunity to make a ton of money very quickly. But you have to put in some research and time. So I spend most of my time reading about these companies and figuring out what most likely will happen in terms of the next steps, right? So hopefully AbbVie right here makes another bid for around over 50 pounds a share, which will be like around $257 bid on Shire, and yeah, hopefully I can collect some. Now I already collected, you know, I think I collected like 10, 11, 12,000 already on this position. So, you know, I'm not going to collect 30 just because I collected a ton. So maybe I was trying to roll out of some of them, but it hasn't. As you can see, I'm trying to work them, but they're pretty wide. Like, look at this. It's $1 wide. It's very hard to kind of close it out for any decent price. So even though I want to roll up, and I have bids in and offers in the whole time, it's not really working out for me in terms of getting out of the position. And so most likely there won't be heavy activity until they announce, and then you'll have some opportunity to adjust your position going forward. But other than that, take care, and I will talk to you guys on Wednesday.